Hi everyone, this is Marianne from designyourhomeschool.com. I'm really excited to join you today and to start off my new series of homeschool video reviews, Look What's on My Shelf. I decided that I would begin where I began 20 plus years ago. When we first looked into home education, I came across this book, For the Children's Sake, Foundations of Education for Home and School by Schaeffer Macaulay, in a tiny little Christian university in Hobart, Tasmania. Reading this book began my homeschool journey. The first thing I must say is that it is beautifully written in such a lovely way that you just feel you're listening to the heart of a very dear friend. Schaeffer Macaulay brings you through her own journey into homeschooling, and she opens the reader's mind to the thoughts and ideas of Charlotte Mason. This was the first time I'd heard of Charlotte Mason. But through the pages of Susan's book, you begin to understand Charlotte Mason, and you can really see that Charlotte Mason's love, sincere love and respect for the children that she taught was one of the principles on which she founded this important educational movement. As Schaeffer Macaulay writes, Charlotte Mason's vision was that these good, wholesome aspects of life would bring joy, stability, and richness to every child. To Charlotte Mason, persons matter. Little children matter. Babies matter. And so at the end of her first chapter, Susan urges us in this way. Let us really and truly be courageous. Much of what follows goes against the daily pattern of most lives. It's interesting to read about, but it will remain as so many words on a page if we cannot do what we know is right. One day, we will stand before our Creator. Were we willing to give, serve, and sacrifice for the children's sake? This is most likely what stood out to me through the course of the whole book. Through each page, the author communicates that children ought to be respected and that their eager minds should be treasured and that each child should be treated as a special individual. For the Children's Sake introduced me to many of the ingredients of a Charlotte Mason style approach. The first time I read this book was the very first time that I had read the words like twaddle and been taught about what is the art of narration and what it means to be reading a living book. These are terms coined by Charlotte Mason, and this was the first time that I'd read about them. It was refreshing. Charlotte Mason believed that right habits should also be established in childhood. In many instances in a child's life and in our lives, we just waste time and energy on all sorts of things which really could be predetermined if we had a helpful habit in place. Under Charlotte Mason's principle of education is a discipline, many helpful habits are discussed, and Susan Schaeffer Macaulay explains the habit of attention and concentration, the habit of self-control, the habit of unselfishness. Further on in the book, she discusses the science of relationships, and she begins with, of the three sorts of knowledge proper to a child, the knowledge of God, of man, and the universe, the knowledge of God ranks first in importance, is indispensable, and the most happy-making. As in all subjects, and especially when teaching the Bible, she believes that we shouldn't be talking down to children, but we should give them simple, quick answers which are genuine. And she also speaks about that we do not necessarily have to produce religious materials for the curriculum. For example, we do not need to have maths questions about the measurements of an arc to make it Christian. Instead, we should just choose the best available material in each field. The Christianness of a subject like art or music, horticulture or cooking is really in the fact that it falls within the framework into which we fit all parts of reality, and that is that it's God's, and that God is the God of all. Through the book, the author discusses the way in which Charlotte Mason taught history, literature, morals, citizenship, composition, languages, art, music, science, geography, maths, physical development, and handicrafts. So there's a lot in there, and there's a lot of practical advice as to how we can go about teaching these subjects in a lovely way. At the end of the book, she sets us a challenge. She says, the challenge is to change our homes and to seek truth and wholeness of life. Education, she says, has to be self-education, and our task is to provide nourishment. We shouldn't undervalue the child, nor knowledge. We provide a relationship, the source material, and a framework for growth. And the student does their own learning, living, and responding. She finishes by saying there can be no greater vocation in life than the family responsibility of sharing life with a growing child. Needless to say, after I read this book, I was convinced that I needed to homeschool, and this certainly was a way that I wanted to bring up my children, in a way of giving them an excellent and a rich foundation, a foundation which treats them as important individuals, that says you matter to me, you matter to God, and building on that foundation. So I heartily recommend this book. It's been a beautiful book on my shelf. It's one that whenever I recommend homeschooling to people that I meet, I always recommend this book. Enjoy.